I think your insight on going organic, creating a healthier environment for your plants to grow in, has made it to where you don't need to do as much spraying and chemically treating is very paramount, right? Because it goes to the natural order of things, right? When you have a healthy environment, as far as soil is concerned, weeds tend not to grow as well. And I know we like to think that weeds are like healthy soil, but grass is a very competitive, very competitive plant. So if you can get grasses to grow, and then of course plant your trees or plant whatever it is that you want to put out there, for the most part you have a healthy enough environment that weeds might not or should not push through. The other piece is, I think there is a big need to emphasize the building of the community within the farming culture, right? Like, we all tend to want to do the same things right next to each other. I have to have cows, I have to have chickens, I have to have pigs, I have to have sheep, I have to have milk, I have to have, honey, I have to have fruit trees, I have to have a vegetable garden, I have to have a U-pick operation. I also have to have some kind of wood chopping thing going on. Like, there's so much. I make cheese. We decide not to kind of, I'd say, delegate things out, right? Like, if we were all working as a big co-op, right? There would be a guy who does strictly oats. There's a guy who does strictly row crops or corn. There's a guy who does pigs. There's a guy who does chickens. There's a guy who does beef. There's a person who does dairy. There's a person who does compost, and there's a person who does hay. And all of you guys are working in tandem to become the ecosystem that feeds the community that you stay in. Everybody doesn't need to own cows. There's no point. Everybody doesn't need to own chickens. There's no point. It's literally a derivative of the fallacy that the American success story is you doing everything on your own rather than you depending on other people. It's the bootstrap ideology that has never worked for anybody. Even the rich people have never done bootstrap. They've always had hookups. They've always had piggybacks. They've always had partners. And I think at the end of the day, when you think about what a corporation actually is, it's rich people coming together to put their money down to create something so that they can go and buy more things. They're conglomerating their money. Farmers should be doing the same thing by conglomerating their resources. There should be a composting guy within every farming community that takes up the scraps from the field, that takes up the scraps from the poop from the animals, if there's some kind of compilation of it somewhere, and turns it into compost. And he buys it, he makes the compost, and he sells the compost to the people. And that's how it should work. Same thing. I grow my cows, I sell my beef. I grow my chickens, I sell my chicken. I grow my pigs, I sell my pigs. And it should not be to where everybody has to have a little bit of everything. And there should be people who specialize in certain things that could supply you with what you need to make your soil healthy, which would then in turn mean that you wouldn't have to worry about putting as much chemical stuff on your plants. Just an idea.